She logs out of my Discord. And then he can't access the files that got sent privately to him. Ugh. Whatever. Just go off my brain. I started the waiting room way too early. I'm sorry. Oh, they can hear me too. Don't tell her slow that I forgot when the stream starts and that it's actually in half an hour and that I forgot to turn the mic off. Okay? We're not gonna tell her that. I'm an expert streamer. Shh. Hey, babe. We're just gonna chill, me and you. All of us. Okay. I'm gonna go be quiet. You're going to prom? Damn, that's really cool. Hey, Farwan. Hey. My goodness, did the music just stop? No, it's like this quiet section. Here. Hi, guys. We're half an hour early. I'm not gonna start streaming. I'm just gonna say hi to you, though. I'm just vibing. Okay? Never give me the stream setup because I mess it up entirely. What's it like for y'all high schoolers right now? So close to graduation. Yeah. It is really close, isn't it? I don't care if you face reveal on Discord. It's your life. You can deal with the consequences. Hey, Fado. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I don't know what's happened. You guys aren't hearing. Oh. Oh, yeah. Now you are. Gotta figure out this music situation here. There we go. Is that good? Or is it too loud? There is like so much for me to read, guys. Hey, Jem. I feel like, okay, what we're gonna do is this is our secret pre-stream. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hide 10 minutes before and pretend that I wasn't here, okay? So anyone here early right now, we're gonna pretend that this didn't happen. Also, I didn't say hello to Le Baguette, and I don't even know. Because I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know who they are. Howdy, howdy indeed. We have to wear a mask, and all the regulations are still up. I've been bedridden for a few days. Oh no. My parents got the vaccine. Well, a vaccine. So they're feeling the effects. I probably won't get one for a long time because I am shut in. So what do we do to get feedback on our manga ideas? Like, do we just post something about it in chat and y'all give some advice and feedback? No, it's patrons only. Patrons get the critiques, and it had to be before a certain point. Last night, basically. I wish I had a comic for you to critique right now. Well, I wouldn't be able to do it because it's too late. I must go. I wanted to check in. Well, thanks for stopping by, Beeb. It smells like not tea. It smells like tomato soup. Why does it smell like tomato soup? Oh. She's making toast, guys. She needs sustenance for the stream. It's a very long and arduous stream that we're going to be going through together as a team. It's arduous. It is a trek, okay? We were talking earlier that we're probably going to start doing 2 critique streams because there's just so many submissions. And what we'll probably do is do all the long form on the Thursday and do all the short form on the Saturday. So yeah, that's probably what we'll do in the future if we continue to get ridiculous quantities of things to critique. Because our voice dies if we do this for 5 hours straight. And we need those. We need our voices. Do you like my t-shirt? Wait. It's my dog, Serena. Usagi. A soggy doggy. Thank you. I'm glad that you love it. I've just been playing with the kitten this morning, and she is something else. Her and Lear are just all about each other. They're good friends. Is Ursula talking to me? I can't tell because all I hear is music. Can non-patrons join in the Discord? Yeah, anyone can join. Anyone can join the Discord. There's this super secret Patreon section, but other than that, y'all can. It's all a game. Patrons are the only ones with voice chat. That's the only thing. Should I update Nightbot to say it's free? Woke up from my nap at the perfect time. Well, technically this is a secret bonus beginning to the stream because I jumped the gun a little bit. A lot of it. A whole bunch. I just got bored, and I was like, I'll talk to the fam. I'm doing my very quiet, like, not yelly voice, because I want to, like, live through this. I was trying so hard to read all of your things last night, because I'd skimmed them earlier, which is better than I usually do. And I was trying to read, and there was dogs wrestling loudly in front of me, so it was very hard to pay attention, so I had to hold myself up in my room, but I could still hear the dogs wrestling, so that's my excuse if I do terribly at these critiques. Because I want to, like, live. Me too, Boons. Me too. Boons. Oh my god. I'm having a stutter day. I'm a Saturday stutter day. So, this is gonna be fun. I feel like you guys are getting no music. It's like weird. Okay. I'm not an expert, okay? By any means. Do not call me an expert at anything. Baby Shark do. Yeah, that's. I was thinking like Mortal Kombat. Combat. Oh my god. I've never spoken the English language, apparently. I bet I would do even worse in any other language, too, so. Infinitely worse, in fact, because I don't speak another language. I merely pretend. Why is there, like, Sonic videos being recommended to me? Like, I don't even... Oh, wait, that's not Sonic. Okay. Never mind. I just assumed that I was looking at Sonic OCs, but I was not. My goodness. Do I really only have... I know I have more than 3 scripts to look at. I think there's only 3 that don't have visuals. So I'll just be tag teaming out with some of them. Yeah, so I think the one I'm gonna start with is 8 Worlds Slowing Down. So whoever did that, be prepared at 2 o'clock, because I'm gonna, out the gate, jump at you. And critique your whole thing. And it's gonna be crazy. I was listening to a cottagecore Hobbit playlist. I can't keep up with these core trends. That's true. I can't either. Okay? Core and wave, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't listen to music. That's a lie, but I don't do music good ways. Okay? My ear holes are they don't care for complexity. They want to bop and that's it. Hello, Ballpoint. Oh, Fado's back. Fado spends like most of his day upstairs, like ignoring us. He's a very asocial dog. Like as far as dogs go, dogs are usually like really go-getters. But him, he's not a go-getter. He's like a go-notter. A not-gotter. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Hey, Clad. I made... Why did you start early? I didn't, okay? This is secret. This is a secret beginning stream, okay? Nothing's actually happened. I've just been I jumped the gun. I've just been chatting. I made my BF to make me a music playlist that's elevator music sounding stuff. I love the No Thoughts Empty Heads playlist. I just adore. It's all like the Wii music and Panic for a sec. I'm sorry. We're gonna this is a secret. We're gonna pretend. Okay, everyone here right now, we're gonna pretend like this never happened. I'm not here right now. You guys are just watching the loading screen. We're just vibing. So what happened, if you weren't here, is I forgot to turn off the microphone. So I just started talking anyways. Oh, Ursula's coming in. She's gonna beat me up. Nothing. Look. Look. Stream soon. Yeah. It's good. Okay. See you guys at 2 o'clock. Hello and welcome to a stream that is starting on time. If only I could figure out how to. There we go. Hello. Haven't seen y'all in a while. Welcome to the critique stream wherein I critique and Ursula critiques pieces of art and writing that were submitted by our lovely patrons. The Patreon thingy, it's done, okay? You can't submit anything until next month, where we will probably be having 2 critique streams because my goodness, we are getting so many submissions, and we'll probably start doing them on Thursdays and Saturdays. The final Thursday and Saturday of the month. Hello to V, Battlebox, Ace, Levy, V, Cole, Nightbot. Hello. How are you all? Oh god. That's a miss. We need a house that doesn't have an angle to it because I slide away.
That'd be nice.
Okay, the camera stopped shaking? No, okay. Whatever. We're gonna just have to deal with that. Hello, Stardust in June. Yurei Kaji? I'm honored. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, Battlebox Cat. All right. Okay. We have a lot of ground to cover today. So we're gonna start. So I'm starting with the righty writer ones, and I will do that. And there's some that are like mixed between writing and art, and I guess I probably should give my writer opinion, and then Ursula can give her archer opinion. I don't know if we should go like take a break between them this time. I don't know. What do you want to do, Ursula? In the meantime, who wants to go first? Okay, I know AZ can't do it until 2:30, but I got 8 Worlds Slowing Down, and I got December and the End of Time. You Kaji. Yuri. I'm sorry. As in wet. Yure. Kaji? I'd like to go second, but I can go first if no one wants to. I don't even know who submitted this one. Let me see. Let me open Discord. There's so many of y'all. Because there's like art and writing ones that I will give very short amounts of information on, because there's so much like storytelling in art that Ursula can address better than me.
Yeah, maybe leave the ones that have like art and writing till the end, and you can do the writing sections, and then I'll go through and do the art sections after you're all done.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Because I have the stuff. I have stuff. Who is it? Who gave me this? Stardust in June. Oh, okay. So I don't mind going first. Okay, Stardust can go first then. All right. Okay. All righty. Let's go. Which one? Okay. So you submitted a thing that is writing. It is a script. I believe, well, I'm pretty certain. I am 100% certain. You sent in an earlier version of this. It's the one with like soulmates and things. And yes. Right. I believe when I read your original, I talked about like being confused by things, I think. And I talked about slowing down, and I definitely noticed that there was a slower pace to this. I liked the beginning a lot. Like I liked how you cut that and made it shorter. Because it definitely feels a lot more like a prologue, and I really like the hard cut to the future because it's good. It's a very good parallelism. Very much shows the idyllic past contrasted with the present that seems a little not great. I think you did some good job with world building. That was a lot stronger than before. I liked. What did I like? The dogs were yelling at me while I was trying to make notes, so my notes are terrible. Specifically, there was something that I liked. I think I like the motif of like the sun and the moon, and this idea about going to the surface, and like the fake sky above them. Like I got a lot more sense of like the visuals in this, and obviously I would regardless because it's going to be a comic. But I like the aesthetic, I guess, that has like symbolic like value to it as well, but also like kind of a world buildy aspect, and that was good. I also think you did a much better job than before with telling information about the world. Like I wasn't as confused, and it felt a lot more paced. When before it was going like so fast that I felt very left behind. Whereas this one, I do feel a lot more connected than previously. Right. And like I don't know how much of that is just me having read it twice, but I do believe that you're doing a better job of it. I like the scenes where they are interacting more too. Like you did a lot more character moments, which I think was stronger. Where I think there's still like some struggle, or at least for me, like I still have like this feeling of confusion. Is I think you might want to give your scenes like a little more space to breathe and a little more time reflecting and explaining still. Like I know we don't want to get into like info dumpy territory because that can be really boring and annoying. But the way that your characters speak sometimes, you could do with a little more maid and butler type stuff. Like I know I will like sometimes it's bad to have like people be like, as you know, but it's also frustrating where you have characters talking about something that they know about, and it wouldn't be awkward for them to speak with more specificity, but you don't have them do that. And it's hard to come up with like examples of like specifically where this happens. because I think you did it pretty well with Malin and Nail talking about like being captain or whatever, and building up like that dynamic, and you did a good job at delivering the information that he's been at this for a long time, and that's strange. I think where I'd want to learn a bit more is still like the big ending with the transposition stuff. Like I don't expect us to know everything about this idea, and we did have the scene where his grandmother shows up earlier, which was good. Like, it didn't come completely out of nowhere, but that scene was still pretty short, and I didn't fully get the weight of this decision. And I think that's a place where you could be a little more Maid and Butler in that specific scene, because while Nail might know what's happening, I think it's a perfectly fine point to inform the reader a bit of what this decision means. Like, you don't have to get into the technical aspects of it entirely, but like a little bit more of that would be good. I think from a pacing point of view, having the grandmother scene so quickly, and right at the beginning, and it's a very intense scene, and it does kind of feel a little out of place than compared to like what's going on. It just gets very intense very quick, and then goes back to just kind of cruising around the town or whatever and being okay. And then the scene with like I really like the idea about the shadows now that I understand them. I think that's really cool. And when you have them showing like the younger generation around and explaining what they are, I think that's a really good job of introducing that. The attack that happens feels a little undeserved at this point, and like a random attack like in real life, it doesn't matter, like, you know, the world's unfair, but it felt a little out of nowhere, and I didn't understand why this person is getting got by the shadow thing, just from like a storytelling point of view. And having it happen so quickly after introducing the concept of these shadow things definitely makes it feel very quick. Like, I don't think it's like terrible, but it's like it was definitely something that felt off pace wise for me. But I did enjoy that the things that were happening aside from the transposition, like I understood them and I could follow along, and I got a sense that all of these characters were characters themselves, and I think that was good. I have trouble with the names, but that's just me with everything. So, if you have any questions about anything I rambled about there, let me know, because that was my impressions of what all went down with the story, and it's very cool, and I think you're at a point where like it doesn't need like tons of retooling or whatever. If you put this out as a comic, it'd be great. You'd have watchers, and I can only see you improving as a writer from there. Is the stream going to stay public when it ends? Yes, the stream will stay public. I can definitely work on that scene for sure. I struggle a bit with it, and I think it shows. I think it's really just like pacing is hard. Like you just need to keep adding to it. Like I don't think the scene is completely bad. Like if the scene came up with the right setup, I think it would be an amazing scene, and it's really interesting and cool. I think it's more the point of the story that you're at right now feels like setup, and that's cool, and setup is good. It just feels out of place to have such important things happening so quickly, because it's not like unimportant stuff is happening up until then. There's lots of crucial information that's being delivered in a very good way. The only issue comes with when it starts moving into plot. And I can also tell that this is kind of like his call to action, right? After that happens, he decides he wants to do this transposition thing, which is cool. But I think because it seems like such a big decision, and it feels like such a, like, this is why he's going to do the thing, we need to understand the ramifications of this, because I think it'll only make the scene all the more powerful if we understand what transposition is, and then he sees what happens and then makes the decision to go, and we understand that, then it'd be like super good. It's a lot of setup right now. Exactly. And I think all of the setup is really good, and not to be afraid of it if you need to add even more setup. Okay, don't be pretty mouth. Yeah, okay. So I think I said my bit. I gotta move at a good clip for all of these people who also submitted their stories. So I guess I will move on to Ace or Fitz. You know, I gotta move to the pancakes. Yeah, okay. I will open that document. The streams are unlisted, but in a playlist. The critique streams won't be unlisted. We keep them public. Right. So Ace of Pancakes AOP. What did I read? Right. Okay. So I read a prose thing. This is my second time reading prose ever. So give me some slack. But no, it's the second time like I'm reading a novel-y thing, which I think is cool. And right. So I will start with the positive, and I will try not to be distracted and go on a weird negative tangent, okay? So I like the... How do I say this? I like some of the voice stuff that you do. Like, I like when your voice shows through in your writing. Like, I think you have a good sense for detail, and when you take the time to explain visually, you come up with some really pretty sounding visual thingies. Like, when there's like certain points where I was reading it where I'm like, oh, I can really picture that, I can really see that, and doing that can be pretty difficult. So I will commend you for that. Like, in the very early part, the paragraph about while she loved the cold, nothing else would live in it with her, and you go on to talk about her creations that turned blue and melted in the snow. And I really like the imagery of the white landscape being like an unpainted canvas. Like, I think that brings in me as a reader, and I think it's really nice prose, and I hope that you continue to do that sort of thing. It's very nice. There was definitely like a storybook, almost fairy tale vibe to this. Like, it gave me some Narnia feels, I guess, in the way that it's like, especially like the first thing. It also gave me a lot of Nancy Boys feels, because like that's the only book I've read, and it's also about gods, and it starts with how the universe was made or whatever. They always do that. But no, like I thought that was really nicely done. And there was like other times where you'd take the time to really describe sensations, like the ice melted away, little flames leapt out and licked at her palms. There was just like all sorts of like little stuff like that I liked, and I found like, especially during your very opening, you did a lot of that, and it was very good. I also like, I also get a sense that each of these characters are individual, which is good. They have some strong personalities. Oh, I liked when you're talking about Winter at some point, and how she has like a shawl on, like a fur shawl, and you describe in a certain moment that it looked like it was like alive again or whatever, like its hair stood on end. Like, I really liked that one. That was something that stood out to me as really unique and interesting and cool description. And I also like that I get a very clear sense of kind of what amount of like conflict is going down. There's like a good mystery action thing with like what I'm gonna assume is like the villain or a villainous like presence in your story, which I am excited to learn about and see come to fruition. So yeah, like, I think you did a lot of very good stuff with that. Where I think it needed work is going to be the thing that I keep saying about everything, but it needed to slow down a bit. Whenever it slowed down, you did really great writing, and it was very it was, I don't know what the word is, like, it's not visual, it's like you feel that you're in a place and you can really connect. But a lot of the times things would progress very quickly and I'd lose the voice, I think. Like, that's what would be missing. Yeah. Like, you would step out of voice and start kind of summarizing, and things would turn very telly instead of showy. Because you don't always have to tell constantly. Yeah, immersive, that's maybe because you can't constantly show, but there was a lot of stuff that could have done with a lot more showing and a lot more voice. I specifically found like at the beginning you had a very clear voice in the prologue. I don't know whose voice it was. It felt kind of omniscient, but moving into the main story, I wasn't sure which character we were following. I am assuming it was December, but I felt very disconnected from December. Like the scene with Winter at the end, I could have elaborated on. Like, yeah, it definitely needs to slow down, I think would be my main thing. Plot wise and just paragraph prose wise as well. There was a lot of events that occurred in chapter 1 and a lot that happened in the prologue, and I feel like it could have made up quite a few scenes on its own, and it would have been really engaging. Like what you have summarized sounds interesting, and you have the ability to really flesh out your prose. So I'd like to see you do that more. Like, I think it would be cool. Like, there's the scene where like Winter's like interrogating December about like what happened. Like that came as like just a summary when that could totally be an entire scene on its own, and you could really like explain things a lot more. Another thing that sort of felt fast was there's a lot of characters, and taking time to slow down and introduce them at more of a drip pace would also be good, because like I can tell you have a lot of love for all these characters, and they all are unique and interesting, and I bet they look really cool visually because you're an art person, and describing them, I would love to see it in my mind a lot more. Yeah. Oh, one thing that I found in the prologue was like Autumn showed up out of nowhere. I don't like you described how all the other gods showed up, and then Autumn was just kind of suddenly there, and I didn't follow entirely. Yeah. And yeah, I just slow down as the first step. If you haven't finished the story, like obviously just get to the end of it and then edit it and slow down. But yeah, I want to be able to engage more with the story, and it's just fast. I will just keep saying it's fast. So it was meant to be like summer was injured, things got colder on Earth. Oh, okay. I didn't see that entirely. Okay, that's the yeah. Because I think that would be cool. I just need to see it happen. So yeah. Do you have any other like specific questions for me? I'm waiting for AZ to appear. Anyways, so. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. I am here. I just got here. Okay. Well, if Ace doesn't have any more questions, I can move forward. I'll try and slow down in the future chapters, and yeah, good feedback. Maybe what sort of read you got on each character? Okay, from the characters I remember, winter. Winter feels cold and like, what is it like? It's like strict, not entirely. I don't know how to describe it. It's like put together. I'd imagine a little sharp. Summer feels very like loud, boisterous. Big lad. December seems kind of young and like childish, kind of up to her own thing. I didn't really get a read on Spring, I think, and everyone else sort of went by very quickly, so it was hard for me to keep up. But I guess December also feels like a little bit meek. Like, when she's up to trouble, it feels like she's out of character in doing so. Like, that's kind of the read that I got on that. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Are you and Ursula trading off at mine? There's like a whole bunch of you that did like double duty, so I'm gonna go through a bunch of script opinions, and then Ursula will give her art opinions on all of them. Yeah. Alright, I'll move to AZ's. Oh no, I had notes, but they're elsewhere again. I can remember them.
He's got this, guys.
I got this. I'm smart. I just gotta find like all right. It's time. It's time to eviscerate AZ with my edgy, I don't know. I was gonna make a joke, but I couldn't put it together. So I'm gonna critique AZ's Bones version. Yes. Oh, what is it called? I always forget. I want to call it like so many things that it's not. I don't know why the name doesn't stick in my brain. That's a me problem. That's not anyone's problem but mine. I'm just like that. Okay. So what did I read? Blow out the candle. Okay, the title's gonna change. Okay, I won't dedicate my brain matter to it. Beatco. Oh, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Okay, so I like it for all the reasons I like it. I feel like a lot of what I would say is like a repeat. I just like the story in general, and I've said nice things about it a bunch of times because it is good and I like it. At this point, I have been focused on making the first draft exist rather than making it good, so tear me apart. Damn. Wow, flexing. Okay. draft. It's pretty good. It took me like a bit to like get back into it because I forgot what happened in the last chaptery thing. But I've been enjoying the continued relationship between them, and I like them starting to like understand each other and like learning from each other. I think it's really good. It's good romance. I think it's cute. God damn it. Yeah, like I think they work really well as like a pairing. And because they've got that like romance thing where they're learning from each other, and I can see them becoming different people by being around one another. And I felt looking at like this the section, I could also feel there was like a lot of tension and stuff. So like you wrote a lot of stuff in your little blue notes where you're like, this is over the top, or like I gotta foreshadow this more. And some of them I really disagree with a lot of your notes to yourself. Because so the one that I most disagreed with was when we were introduced to when Gil's dad has like the back problem. Maybe like there should have been more foreshadowing about like the back issue. But you were like, I need to build up his fear of like clinical stuff or whatever, or foreshadow that more. And I think it was pretty well foreshadowed, even though you've never brought up medical stuff whatsoever. Like, I don't think you need to put a lantern on that specific dealio with medical stuff, because we've been with like Gil for some time now. Like, I really get him as a character, and I know what his reactions mean at this point. So when you bring up when the scene happens and they're like, go pick up my medication, and he starts to, have like his trauma response or whatever to it, I think it's very clear that something happened, and I think it adds a nice amount of like intrigue and mystery to like what happened. And I think the reason that you feel that is because we've had a previous scene where he interacted with a teacher, right? There was the old teacher that he meets, who is quite rude to him, and he reacts pretty similarly. And I think because we've had that scene, we can only assume that something happened around this medical thing and around this doctor specifically. And I like how everyone's kind of vaguely saying, like, that doctor's not going to be there and it's fine, just go in at that time. Like, I think it's really well done, and I feel like if you add too much foreshadowing, you might like cut away from some of the intrigue of what's going to happen. With that said, let me see. Let me look at your little notes. Right. Oh, I also like the yeah, you don't want to be too down on the nose or downplay suspense. Yeah. I liked I liked meeting the tutor. I think I also didn't feel like you needed big reveal or big build up to them. Like, I think like meeting them like that was perfectly fine. It was nice to see, like, after everything, like Gil in his element. Like, I thought that was cool. And I also thought it was kind of neat because he's been hanging out with Des so much, and like them going to that place together, it was kind of felt a little rewarding because Des is getting to like see him like even more like in his element than usual, and I think it was a nice reward kind of for the relationship between them. I'm checking on how much subplot I want to have with the side characters. Yeah, like, it doesn't feel like the side characters are taking over the story and that there's tons of subplots, but it feels like there's a world that surrounds them and people have their own little stories or whatnot. I'd say the way things are going, it does feel like the storyline with like the doctor feels like there's a lot on top on a lot of importance put on it. So if it's not supposed to be, then I'd be a bit worried. But yeah. So there was the other scene where he goes to the clinic and he meets the doctor, and I don't find the scene unbelievable, right? Like, I don't feel like Gil's reactions are out of nowhere, but I feel like allowing the scene to get not even as intense as it does, but I feel like plot-wise it goes a little farther than is earned at this point, because we've just been introduced to the idea of this doctor, right? And having them actually meet, I think, is the problem. I don't think the meltdown or whatever is melodramatic. Like, it feels reasonable and like justified and doesn't feel out of anywhere. Out of nowhere. I think it was just like having the conversation happen between him and the doctor is probably where it goes too far. It's like, I don't disbelieve that this doctor would act so horribly by any means. It just feels like you might want to save that card for later. Yeah, definitely. And I think the way that the scene ends with the doctor kind of more in the shadows, observing the situation, like, I thought that was really good and really cool, kind of like foreshadowing, and it definitely made there feel like some tension, some plot, something like it feels like it's foreshadowing something that's going to happen in the future, and it feels very interesting. I'm intrigued. However, yeah, allowing them to like interact so quickly, I feel like is playing your cards too fast. Because all the stuff is believable. It just you're playing your hand too quickly with that. Yeah. There's something bothering about me, but I think that's good to hold off for later. Give it more narrative reward. Yeah, exactly. I think that is the main thing. And that was like most of the stuff that sort of stood out to me. And yeah, I like it, and it's good. Yeah. If there's any other questions, I can answer them now. And I guess after that, I will move to... I gotta find whomst I will move to. So I guess... Alright, awesome. What am I going to? Okay, so there's the Great Cow Heist is one. IdeC's story is another. Oh no. Oh no. Critique stream, yeah. I was looking at it the whole time. And, oh shoot, I don't have the script for, Farwinds on me right now. Yeah. Do you prefer writing short stories or comics? Consider me next because I have a wedding to go to in an hour. Oh shoot. Okay. I'll do Cow Heist. No. I don't know why. It's just I was sitting and I was thinking about this story for like a good long time, and I just don't know what to add. Like, I don't even understand my own opinions, and I didn't come up with any. I was like, I'll come up with some before the stream, but then I didn't. So let me open it and refresh myself. And maybe then I'll have an opinion to give you. I know you were worried about it being like too gory or something for like kid stuff, but no, it's fine. I didn't think it was too. Okay, I think what might be my difficulty in talking about the story is the specific style it is. Like, I'm not against this style by any means. It's just one that's kind of hard to comment on, where it's kind of zany. I would describe the story as zany, honestly. I think it's kind of slow. I don't think it's slow. I think it moves at a fine clip. There's a lot going on. It feels like kind of a world that I don't need to think about too much. It, like there's like monster characters and cows and stuff. Like, it's silly. And so I don't sit and think, what is the lore behind this? You know, like, I just have a good time and I enjoy the characters interacting. I like the cows. Like, I wish I had like better things to say. I think the characters also were good because like every character feels unique in that they have their own very set personalities, and for something sort of comedic like this, they play off each other well. You have your like straight man character who's like, this is ridiculous, which is good to have when things get ridiculous. You've got your vampire who seems fun, and you got your other guy with the wings on his head. I'm gonna guess like they're a Pegasus or something. I don't know. That's my guess, because the other one's a unicorn. And like, out of nowhere, it's just like, oh yeah, they can make portals with their horn. And I'm like, okay, sure. Cow Heist is my sovereign. Yeah, it's fun. You don't got to think about it. I think it's better than Sovereign because it's so silly that like there's no part of me that's like, it's like, I need explanations for this. Like, it doesn't play itself off as something that needs big explanation. I think most of my critiques would actually come from like art stuff, so I'll leave Ursula to that. I don't want to like overdo these ones who give us like both art and writing, because it feels unfair to go super in depth on both when some people just get like one or the other. But yeah, I think it's good. I can't think of anything like I had a problem with. Oh, I didn't get the joke on page 16 where they say he whoa there girl, and they say actually he's a boy, and they go eep. I didn't understand that. I wrote some questions on the Discord, I don't remember. Oh, for Bones. Does it look rushed? The script? I don't know. Like it feels quick. It reminds me of sort of like the stuff I wrote for like the 24-hour comic. Does it read fast or slow? It has like a fast speed. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I don't think it goes too slow for what it is. Does the blood part seem gross? I don't think so. It wasn't gory by any means. Are the characters distinct? I did say that. Yeah. I hope this wasn't terrible. Right. Okay, I will move on from that one, and then Ursula will bounce back, hopefully, in time. Hopefully I won't take forever on the next little bits. IdeC said they wanted to be last, so the other one was Farwin. Shoot. I need the script. I need to look at it again. Because that was the one where the dogs were yelling at me tons. Yeah, so it's Farwin. I think that's everyone. Okay, I'm gonna talk about IdeC, and then I'll do Farwin's when Ursula's talks about the arts. I'll pop in. I'll pop in and pop off, okay? Because like, yeah, the really arty ones, especially the non-thumbnaily ones, I don't have tons to go off about. For IdeC, okay, my first critique for IdeC is to stop being mean to yourself. Okay? Okay? Because I read your little pre-critique thing where you talk about how terrible it is or something. I remember it being very, very down on yourself. Okay? And I don't think you deserve to be treated that way by yourself. And I think you did a great job. I think it was really cute. It gives me so much vibes of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Agreed. IdeC is awesome. Yeah. I think I really like your characterization. Like, even just in your writing, like, these characters come across really strongly. They have very like sound archetypes to them, and they're very cute, and they play off each other very well. And I love the little Charmander and all his silly nonsense. And it just, the tone of the writing, especially during the first half of it, is very fun to read. I could imagine seeing these two continue on through many adventures and it would be really fun. I think my main critique is that it took a very dark, sudden turn that I did not expect and feels a little out of place. With the I forget what that Pokemon's called, the purple-haired one, and the blood. I didn't expect there to be blood, I think was the main thing I didn't see coming. So like that was like my main thing was I didn't that felt a little out of nowhere. Other than that, like it was just like tonally very different than the rest of the story was. Um and in the future it's probably good to uh lampshade that like a little bit, that things could get dark um before they happen, rather than just going like straight into maiming Vulpix, who did not deserve it. However, the like what happens isn't that like bad. I think it's mostly the level of like bad that it took. Like with such a cute story that was going on, like it's fine to like beat up Vulpix. Like you can kick that dog, but like the blood I think is probably where it goes too far. And I thought about that when I was thinking about like Mouth's comic, where I was just like, that one didn't bother me, but I think this one was a lot. I think it's just like you did a really good job at it. It feels very painful, and I feel so bad for these poor Pokemons. There was other stuff that was difficult for me, but I think it was just because I didn't know the game tons, because I only played the first mystery dungeon. There's like the gates to the dungeon and stuff, like I didn't understand entirely, but I don't think that's a you problem. I think that's a me problem. So yeah, and that's my opinion on that one. I think that's all the ones. I did it.
You did it.
I will go sit in the corner and look over Farwin's, and then you can hear my opinions but not see my face.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Any tips for writing a script? You should come back next Thursday or Saturday, because then I'll do questions.
Hello. Never. I'll never make tea.
Hello.
I'm gonna have a pot of tea.
She's got her pot. It's legal. It's legal to have pot. Yeah. It's perfectly legal. Herbal teapot.
Hello. All right.
All right.
I have a question, Bones.
What?
Did you set up?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Not a bit.
not a bit.
Not one bit.
Well, okay. Give me 1 second while I set this up. Proper.
All right. Let me look over Farwin's stuff while I'm doing it. Is there too much conflict? No, I don't think so. Blah, blah, blah. Raymond's little interaction with the guests feels, I don't know, cheesy and weak. I think I think my main problem that sort of came up in this chapter is I don't know if this is a me thing or a you thing. Um, and maybe Ursula can help because having another person reading, but I think I'm getting a little swallowed up in the world building. That I don't quite understand what's happening with arcane magic. Um I like some aspects of it. Like I like how casual they talk about like arcane um uh wait, did I take my pill?
Oh dear. Okay.
Did I? I don't know. If you find a
don't
pill
know?
somewhere, I didn't take it.
Okay.
Sorry. What was
Wow. Okay.
Listen, it's hard to be me.
Okay. So sorry, were you talking about the script for Farwin?
Yeah, I was talking about it.
Do you have more stuff to say?
Maybe. I was just starting to get confused about the world. Cause I get like so far like I understand the murder thing that happened, but I didn't. I guess it does feel like a lot happening when it comes to like arcane magic that I don't have the background to understand really what is happening in the scene as much as I feel like I should have. Like I guess I sort of felt out of the loop on things. I don't know if you did, Ursula.
Yeah, it felt a little yeah, it just needed like a bit more explanation because I was like,
Where?
what?
Because there hasn't been a lot of the arcane stuff showing up until because it's been hinted at,
Yeah.
which is good, but it feels a little weird to go from hinted at to here's a big thing about it, big change to it, I guess. Yeah, it would be introducing a change before establishing the normal.
Yes, I think that's it. Totally, where you see bits of it around the story, but yeah, we haven't had that like this
Explainer.
is what it is. Yeah. You kind of need that explainer.
And you didn't need a lot of explanation for a lot of stuff that you've put in. But when you're doing such a big technical change to it, you need a big technical explanation before you do that. Like if it's going to be plot relevant to understand a big change to it, we need to understand the ins and outs of it first.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been scrambling trying to find the chat.
Okay.
That's what's been occurring.
Because magic is such a normal thing. Yeah, totally. It's hard because when it is like explaining something that's normal in the world, like the characters wouldn't. You have to find a naturalistic for the characters to talk about the magic stuff, the arcane stuff, without it being made in butlery. We're like, as you know, this is how it is normally. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mouth has to leave soon.
Oh, okay.
So before you go back to this is jumping around tons. I'm sorry.
Here, sorry. So we'll talk about Mouth's art.
And then
they have to go.
beam back.
Yes. Sorry, Farwin. Okay. Mouth, my friend. Okay. So looking through the art of this, I found your art is super like cute and expressive. I especially like the unicorn guy. What was his name? Hayes. I think.
Quentin Hayes.
Yes. No, I like Hayes's expressions a lot. There was one expression that Emma does that I loved, where they see the gun and get the sparkly eyes. I thought that was really funny. I like the little asides you do with just like cute little expressions. It's really fun to look at. I really like the characters' relationship. I really like especially how you kind of characterized Emma's impulsiveness that keeps getting them into trouble. I think that's really fun. There were a couple things I was confused by story-wise. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing a story critique. I was confused by the fact that Hayes can teleport using the unicorn magic, which is fine. Like, I think you introduced that fine. I was just confused why they're driving around in a car if they have teleport unicorn magic. But anyways. Art-wise, I'm not sure how intentional this was. But I found when I was looking through like the settings and things, they felt like movie sets almost. And I think it's because a lot of the backgrounds are very flat. There were a couple times, like I know you had one, I think it's on like page 2 or 3 or something. You have one that's from above, like an above shot where you're looking down at the town that they're approaching after like pushing the car. Which I found like added more depth, but otherwise everything is very like straight on at like ground level. You're not doing any like crazy angles or anything. It's just very like straight on and flat. And it makes the backgrounds kind of feel like cardboard sets, like on a movie, like an old Western movie. And I'm not sure if that's what you're going for, but that's how it felt to me. I also found that there was one, sorry, what am I trying to say here? I think that your story would benefit from adding stuff with a bit more depth and playing around with camera angles more. One page in particular that I felt like needed something like that was you have one page, it was just a sketch where you flip things on, it's like a splash page and you flip the whole thing on its side. So the vampire guy is like at the top and then there's speech bubbles in the middle and then I think Emma's on the other side at the bottom. And that felt like you needed like a Dutch angle, not like a flipped on its side angle. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going for, but I'll definitely think about it some more. I struggle with backgrounds. I'd recommend getting some, just doing some really simple like perspective studies, just like 1 point and 2 point perspective. Because I think it, you know, it'll add some more depth to your backgrounds. Because you draw like really cute buildings and stuff and cute, like environment stuff. I think you just need that like fundamental like perspective, putting a grid under things underneath it. And right, anyway, so that page where I think it's when the vampire is Hayes under mind control. But yeah, but it felt like it needed like a Dutch angle or something, because just flipping it on its side was like super jarring, but I understand you wanting it to be a little jarring because it's like an uncertain moment for Emma. Yeah, so I think that would be my biggest my biggest point is just adding more of that, more angles, more depth to your stuff. I think there's also places where you can condense. There was one page where they're asking like, how do you guys get around then? Talking to the person riding around on the cow. and then you do a splash page showing the cows, which I thought was really funny, where they switch and it's just like, we use cows to get around. And then on the next page following that, the person they're talking to says like, oh, we get around on cows. And I was like, you could just take that dialogue and plunk it on the last page, and I think it would be, or you could even take it out. I think people would still get it and it would still be funny. So yeah, so there's little places where you can condense things. There's you can add more like depth and perspective into places. Another little nitpick, it wasn't a problem through most of the comic. I just noticed it on this front page. It's very hard to tell who is speaking in this exchange, and part of it is because you have the border missing around this speech bubble that's coming from Emma. So it looks like these two pieces of text, these two speech bubbles, are connected and not a separate character speech bubble overlapping another character. So just be mindful of that in the future, but I didn't find any other places where like the typography like was confusing in that way. Otherwise, you did a really great job. But yeah, otherwise, like, you've got pretty good composition stuff going. You've got good flow through your comic. It's got the good stuff. Do you have any questions, Mouth, that I can answer before you have to run off? I should have poured my tea later. It's getting kind of cold. Oh well.
Sucks to suck.
I asked some questions on the Discord. Oh shoot.
Let me look. Let me take a look-see.
There's so many submissions this week.
There are
This
so
month,
many.
I'm like, where is it? For the Air Creek, does it look rushed? I've been doing 2 pages every 3 days for Nano, and I'm afraid the quality isn't very good. I didn't notice any, like I wouldn't have guessed that you've been working on it, like, 2 pages every 3 days. Like, it looks
Fairly polished.
yeah, it looks polished. It looks, like, consistent in quality. Like, it's not like you have, like, one day where it, like, drops and then another one where it's, like, really polished. Like, it feels very consistent. Yeah, looks great. Are the expressions fun to look at? Yes, I really like the expressions, like I said. I don't think it's too much talking heads. You've got a good variety of characters talking and doing, like, full body stuff. Again, like, I think adding more depth to background would help. But I also think you do a lot of really dynamic paneling, which helps with any, like, talking head scenes. Like, nothing stood out to me as too repetitive. Does it read too fast or slow? It goes at a good clip. I think Bone said that too. But I didn't feel like it was too fast. Anything else want to add? I've said my piece. Let me know if there's anything else.
All right, Farwin.
Farwin. Okay, Farwin, where's yours? Okay. Okay. Gotta jump around and find the one that I want. Oh dear. Oh no. There's so many. There we go. Okay. Right. So when I was looking through, again, I think you've got compositionally, you're very good with doing, like, a variety of panels. I think the information you put in panels is good. Like, I could tell pretty easily what was happening. And I could get a lot of emotion even from just, like, these thumbnails. Like, you're great with, like, character expression. You're great with motion. I really like how you use dynamic, like, camera angles and stuff. So it's all looking good so far. I noticed a couple places where, I think I mentioned this in the last critique. There's a couple places where I think you could do you could pull out more. Cause like, here's one panel where I noticed it especially was like, you tend to even when you're doing like a full body shot, you have it's very cut in close around like the top of the character's head and like the bottom of their feet, and I think you need more sections where you pull out even more, and there's lots of breathing room around the character, and you take more focus on the environment, because I think you're also very good at drawing environments, and you should take advantage of that more. Plus, that'll make it easier to understand where the characters are by adding like really nice establishing shots. So more establishing shots, please, so I can tell where people are. Yeah, I think that was my major issue, because you have some nice establishing shots here too. I just want more of them, you know.
Ursula wants you to suffer.
You just got like a cool fantasy world. I want to see lots of it. It's the same with me when I'm drawing Diamond. It's like I gotta do these big pulled out shots where I show off the environment even though it hurts. Because it's a cool fantasy world and I want to see the good stuff. Okay.
Me telling you to add 50 extras.
I know. It's so mean.
It's so correct.
Yes. Do you think the part where Kyo is bringing Ty behind the curtains instead of more about the world, probably the topic, could be changed to about the magic itself so it's easier to understand the speech? Possibly, if you set it up before the speech happens, that could help. Yeah, I'd say give it a try. See if you like it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah,
It's some of the most difficult stuff is getting your world building in there when the amount you need like is hard. Everyone struggles with it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so annoying. Am there. Anyways. Yeah, I'd really have to see it in practice to see if it works.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it there needs to be some sort of setup, and yeah, it's up to you how you plan to achieve that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There's a few pages that weren't flashbacks that I was struggling with too. I'm not sure. Which pages are those again? Oh, there was one thing. I think this follows the same point as I was talking about your shots being like a little too close in. This section here where he gets bumped and he's like about to trip and like spill the drink. I think it needs to be pulled out a bit just to show the kind of physical comedy more. The Moopster ones.
I like the monsters.
Yeah, me too. I really liked these. I think you've done a good job with like.
I like that section writing wise too.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Like I was thinking like I really like kind of the overlap you've got going. It adds it adds a lot of like visual interest, but also like it's dynamic. Yeah, it's dynamic. It shows like a lot of movement. I think it's kind of forced you to get really creative with your paneling, which is awesome. Although you're pretty good about using really interesting panel layouts and stuff. Um, I think looking at them, I think this one, it might help to pace it out a bit more. It's hard to say. I think for this one, it just feels like there's a lot of visual information happening and it's packed really tight here at the top. Like I understand why it's at the top because you want this like larger panel down here. But maybe it needs to be just like spaced out a bit more. Maybe it needs its own page or to be reworked, but it definitely feels like a little tight up here. Maybe it needs some more breathing room. Same with like the following page. This feels like it's a lot of little panels that maybe need like an establishing piece to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just in some I think just in some places you need to like give the panels more room to breathe. It might mean adding more pages, unfortunately, which I know is something you've wanted to cut down on. But sometimes things just need like a little bit more breathing room and you need to add like I'm so scared to have so few panels. That page is weird because that's the end of the flashbacky thing and then back to current. I think you can keep like, it might mean sizing things down. It's hard to say. Because you can put a lot of information on a page by just making the panels smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know how to balance that with establishing shots. Well, I mean, you've got the top one here. I mean, part of it is these first two panels could just be pulled out more and just like stuck together. That's another thing to consider is like, if you have two panels of basically the same kind of things happening, you could, stick them together and then just show like a larger scene of multiple things happening in one panel, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense.
All right, let's keep going. There's a lot to cover.
Okay, let me know if you have any other questions, Farwin.
I'm dying to know the answers.
Thanks for being a champ and letting us interrupt in the middle. Okay, who else had a script?
IdeC.
IdeC. Right, okay. IdeC, my friend. I, for one, totally agree with Bones. You should stop being so mean to yourself about your art, because your art is lovely and expressive.
Yeah, that's our main critique.
It's our
Don't
main
be
critique.
mean.
Gotta be wholesome and lovely to yourself.
It won't.
Please.
It won't. It won't. It won't make our critique any nicer or meaner.
Exactly. But yeah, so going through it, I think your art was super cute. I love the expressions you do for the characters. They're really big, they're really fun. Yeah, great character expressions. You're really good at keeping your characters like on model, and I think you have a really great job with like giving them very diverse shapes and sticking to those shapes. I think you do a real good job with that. I found generally like your paneling is good. you have a good sense of like where to place characters and keep like you're good at keeping the flow, you're good at like composing shots. There's lots of room for your typography. I might have added more padding in the inside the bubble so that the lettering isn't quite so close to the edge of the bubbles, just to give them a bit more room to breathe, but I didn't find anything like illegible. I found that my favorite page my favorite page is that one where they're entering the cave and it's that black and white silhouette of them. Like I wanted to see more cool stuff like that throughout it, especially when they're getting to like maybe the darker parts where like the Vulpix gets like attacked. Because I feel like visually you could do a lot of cool stuff to set up that it's gonna like bad awful things are gonna happen by adding that really stark contrast, kind of darker looking stuff to it. Yeah, and I think you're really capable of like really great, cool, dynamic art. One issue I had with the comic was a lot of the backgrounds. I found that you did do like establishing shots here and there, like when they meet like the fork in the path between the door and like going further into the tunnel. I just needed more of that. This is my critique for everyone apparently, is more establishing shots. Just so that you can see like show them going into like a new chamber, and then you see the stone they're looking for in the corner, and then Vulpix sees it and you get the close-ups and stuff just to get like a lay of the land. And then keeping like, it's hard because I know sometimes you want to have a panel where like the background isn't really in focus, the focus is on the character, which is totally fine, but I found some places you needed kind of a more mapped out room for the characters to be in so you could tell where they were into relationship with each other. I also found there were lots of panels where each panel only held one character, when you could have kind of mushed some of them together and shown like the characters together, and again, just it would really help with understanding where the characters are in relationship to each other in the room and what the room looks like. I think that would improve your comics exponentially, because the character art's so cute. I just want backgrounds that get as much love, you know? But yeah, I think that's my biggest critique, is just understanding where the characters are in relationship to each other a lot more. Hopefully that makes sense, my friend. Is IdeC here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, friend, if you have questions for me, please let me know. You can message me on Discord and I'll answer them. Okay, let's keep going. Who's next? Was there another script you read that you needed artwork looked at?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is Kuro here?
I think so. Oh, Clad was asleep.
Clad's asleep?
Or is falling asleep or something.
Oh, okay. Go look at Clad's. Clad! And then we'll do Kuro's.
If Clad's awake.
Clad, are you here? I'm here? Okay. Is Clad still here? I think Clad needs to go though. I'm awake? Okay. I'll get this done so you can go sleep. Okay, once again, I'm struggling with the logo for my comic, Born of Hubris. I'm at a loss of what to do with the color, since gold would fit the story of the comic, but I don't want it to have too many colors, since the style for the comic is simple, just not knowing what to do and asking for help. Okay. I do appreciate you showing me the different contrasts and stuff. That's good. Okay, so looking at this, I really love the gold on the lettering. I think you did a really good job with like the texture and the color, and it really pops. Especially like I'd love to see it on like the full illustration to get like a better sense of how it fits in. But I know that it works really well with the colors in your cover illustration that you had. So yeah, great job with that. I think that the problem you're running into is it's still melding into the background. Like it's very busy on top of the background. Just because the background, the necklace bracelet-y thing in the background, it has a lot of little details that are easy to get lost in, and it draws attention away from the lettering. I might try... You're also having problems where, because the contrast is like so high between the black of the logo, or what am I saying? The black of the bracelet background piece and the lightness of the lettering, it can be hard to place on top of elements. So for example, the yellow on this gold coloring is blending in so much with the background, like the gray sky and the white of the mountains and stuff. But you couldn't put it on something dark because the black of the background section wouldn't have contrast with the background. So what might help would be putting a dark outline around the text, whether that you use like a dark kind of like gold, or if you use a black, something like that. If you want to keep this black part on the background. It's hard, I know, because like you want to keep it simple. You want to keep the silhouette instead of making it like a fully rendered thing, right? Yeah, honestly, I would try adding a shadow under the text, or an outline that's something dark that can match that kind of black of the background. It definitely works better on a black background with the white background section and then the text. It still gets lost. The text still gets lost in the detail of the background piece. However, it has better contrast on the black background, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'd add an outline. You could add a drop shadow, just something to differentiate it from that background piece. Yeah, that is what I would recommend. I really like it in the black and white, on the gray. I'm very torn between keeping it simple but not having too few colors. But if I darken the color of the text, would it work better? It might. I'd still worry about it disappearing into the background necklace piece. I was worried that the outline might make it too busy. It depends, because if you use like a chunkier outline, it'll cause less kind of visual noise. Whereas a thinner one might be too much detail. Pardon me. Yeah, it's hard to say. I know you don't want it too detailed, but part of me thinks like it would be cool to make it look kind of like embossed, if that makes sense. Like I'm picturing like an outline that makes it look like this stuff here has been like carved into it. So it has like a bit of a rim on it that's still like that gold. That might be too much detail though. I just think it would look really cool. I do like the black and white ones. It's the color one I'm worried about. Yeah, I really like your black and white ones. I think those have good contrast. They're legible. Yeah, it's just this color one that is definitely trouble because of the high contrast on it. You could possibly, if you... Another possibility would maybe be putting like a rectangle behind it, kind of like just surrounding the text that sits behind this necklace piece, and then you can play around with like different colors and contrast with that just to give it more definition no matter like what background it's put on, if that makes sense. Kind of like a nameplate behind it. But again, that might be more detailed than what you want to do. I feel like you're so close. You're almost there. You just need to like push it a little bit more. Last little detail, you know? Sorry, I'm gonna pour some more tea. My throat is already upset. Feel free to do mine any time past 4 p.m. Or last if it's before. Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, Clad, let me know. Oh, I did put a rectangle behind it. It just looked like a sticker, so I skipped it. Okay. I'm at a loss of what to do because I feel like I'm blind at what is good when it comes to logo design. You're so close. You really just need some kind of element to help keep your gold lettering from blending in. Like, you're so close. I believe in you. I definitely would recommend trying a few different options and showing it to other people and getting more eyes on it. Just because, yeah, if you might have been staring at this so long, like, you can't... it's like you can't see the...
Forest through the trees.
Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta step away and have someone else look at it with fresh eyes.
Buy some eyeballs.
Get some eyeballs at the grocery store.
Eat them.
I'll try outline, maybe some color frickery. Heck yeah. Awesome. Well, I hope it works out. You're so close. You can do it. No problem. All right, Kuro. Kuro, my friend. Let's do this. Okay. So for your comic, so oh, I'm sorry. Shut up, Moses. Okay, so I liked the little story. I liked the little story arc you had going. It was fun. I think you did a very good job with establishing the environment in your comic, where you have, and it's very simple. So like, he's walking by the lifts, the elevator, as we say in Canada. He's walking by the elevator. You even got a sign showing what it is, and then he or someone's trapped in it, and he gets it open. And you do a good job showing that like the elevator's like trapped between floors. You're very consistent with like the angle that you look at the environment, so like you can tell kind of where things are, people coming in. I'm never like, where are they? It's very good set design, and keeping it consistent. There were a couple things that were a little jarring visually. One of them is the page where he's opening the elevator. Here, I can pull it up. Where he's opening the elevator door, and you can see like the silhouettes of people in the background. But just because like they're the same color as Jax's pants, elevator didn't fit in the box. Oh, I thought you were just doing it because they say lift in where you live. What was I saying? Oh, right. The color of the silhouettes in the background. Like, it took me a second when I was first reading it. I was like, what is that? Does he have something, like, hanging off of his pants? So yeah, so I think you just need some kind of differentiator. I think also, like, framing the character, like, with his legs, it creates a frame around it, which gives it focus. So I'd recommend moving the silhouette so that like they're overlapped, so that they're not completely framed, just to make them blend into the background a little bit more. I think yeah, so just being careful about that. I think there was also lots of like blank space. Like you have some like screen tones and textures put in a lot of these. Shoot. Get out of here. What am I looking for? There's so many tabs open, guys.
It doesn't end.
Never
The
ends.
stream goes forever.
Okay. So, right, there's lots of like kind of blank spaces in a lot of these, and like I said, you have textures on them, but they're still very empty. And it might help to, like, I'm not sure how you'd fill them in. Like you might need like lined textures, like adding in some more contrasty background elements. So like, for example, on here drawing like the floor tiles, for example, or adding some like scuffs and shadows onto the wall or something like that, just to like fill up the space a little bit more, just so it feels like a little less empty, would help. And not on every page. Like obviously when you're doing a close-up of like him hearing my cousin Eugene Gray in the elevator, like you don't need to put a bunch of details in there because the focus is the character's expression, but like big establishing shots, maybe like a little bit more details. I did it in a week, so I didn't want to do a lot of details. Oh yeah, that's fair. I also think I'm on the fence because you did a good job with like establishing the area they're in and how it looks, but I found like in the bit where they're pulling Eugene out of the elevator, I think you needed like a camera turn so you could see it easier, because it took me a minute to be like, wait, what are they doing? Just because the angle, it's really hard to see like Eugene and Jax and the EMTs really well. So I think you just needed to turn the camera a little bit so you could get like a better silhouette of them. Just because when you have so many things like overlapping and you've got like forced perspective on it, not forced perspective, foreshortening on it. It can be hard to, what's the word? It can be hard to, like, understand, I guess, which is why you want really, contrasted, unique silhouettes, if that makes sense. Oh boy, it was it was meant to be bird's eye view, but oh boy, it was tough. Fair. But yeah, I think you need to I think you needed that bird's eye view just to be able to see it properly, unfortunately. But hey, it's like a learning opportunity to push yourself to do the thingy that is hard to draw, you know? But yeah, overall, really good. Really liked it. I think you got good paneling. Yeah, I think you did a really good job with like establishing the setting in this. I think is where it really shines. Yeah. Did you have any other questions, Carl? I did like the little spider that's in the wall when Jax gets into the elevator. I thought that was cute. It might also help, in the vein of like adding little details, it might help to add like shadows to characters. Just showing kind of like where their feet are placed or like that they're casting a shadow on the floor. It'll also help with like making them feel grounded in the scene. The kitten's crying. I would hear you walk by and not bring her out. You monster. Worked hard. Yeah.
You do more talking afterwards, so.
True. No questions really. Was the story good? I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. That, yeah, it was nice and short. It had good setup. A good little payoff. I'm like, who is that guy? Is he an employee? And it's like, no, we know him. He just is around doing good things. I thought that was cute. It feels like the setup of like further stories. It feels like an introduction to a character or like a bunch of short stories you'd put together into a collection. Yeah, it feels like Jax's introduction to a story. That, you know, can be like a one-shot, but like gets expanded on in more stories, if that makes sense. Yeah. Free week. Free her. She baby. She needs to be free. Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. It is a one-shot, but maybe in a few years. Fair. Okay. I'm gonna move on to the next person because there's a lot to go. Let's see. Was there other comics? There was Cole's. Or I can dive into illustrations. And V wanted to wait until after. That was helpful? Okay. Awesome. So V wanted to wait till after 4. Is Cole around? Is Sean around? Who's around? Who's here? Who wants to go next? I will wait. I will wait for volunteers. Cole's here? Awesome. Okay, Cole. So. Oh, hey, IdeC. Yours was. I did it earlier, though. So you have to scoot back in the stream a little bit. Miku! Oh my god, she's crazy. She's a crazy kitten.
Don't want her, she's crazy.
Hello,
She'll
baby.
hurt you again.
Hold
He's
on.
Miku.
This is very important.
Miku.
Miku.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, so Cole, looking through your story, even without the dialogue, it was very easy to tell what's going on. Sorry, my feet are being attacked. It was easy to tell what's going on. I really liked the kind of fight dance action going on around the pillar. Like, she's like hiding. Is it a he? Is this character? He comes like chasing her around. There's some scenes that are missing. Just before Arrow shows up, there's supposed to be a big bang. Okay. But yeah, but I really enjoyed the little chase around. It felt very kind of cute and funny. I found there were parts that were like a little confusing. I think part of it I think part of it is just because it's missing the color, because it looks like there's like a magic effect here. When I was first reading, I was like, what happened? But yeah, it looks like magic there. Yeah. I think you have like that's Era's uncle. Okay, I thought so. What am I thinking here? Yeah, I think you did a good job with like fixing the camera more or less and having that one shot of the pillar, like this shot, just to show them like going around it. Otherwise, like it could get very confusing with where they are. So I think you did a really good job with like establishing where it is and then just moving them through the environment while keeping the camera fixed. You know what I think confused me about it was just like I didn't realize her jacket was sticking out past the pillar and then he like shoots it. I think that was the only part that confused me. So maybe like her arm needs to go out more and like overlap the pillar. Something like that. I think as well the uncle is like facing the wrong way, so it's creating like a break of the 180 rule. So I think you just like his face can be looking the same way because he'd be looking over that shoulder. It's weird. You have to like think about it in 3D and turn things around in your head. It's difficult sometimes. But his face can be facing the same way as it is, but his shoulders need to be like turned the other way. So it looks like he's still facing towards the back of the room, even though you flipped the camera. If that makes any sense, you just need to like flip the orientation of his shoulders. Just so that it's easier to follow that he's looking back this way. And it doesn't look like he's like totally flipped around. I hope that makes sense. It feels so hard to explain. But in my brain, in my thinky bucket, like I'm like, yes. This is it. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. But otherwise, I think you've done a really good job with just like keeping the camera fixed. It helps with this action scene that goes down. And I do like how they quickly kind of make up afterward. I got like the emotion behind it when he sees the flower. Yeah, I think you've just done like I can't. There's no dialogue on it. I don't know what they're saying, but I get the general story. I think you've done a really good job with like emoting, um, getting different like getting the story across. Um, One thing that is a little confusing is the pillar kind of comes out of nowhere. It might just be like you need to add in some more backgrounds here, but they like go over to the like the basket by the door. Yeah, I think you just need to draw like some backgrounds in these kind of panels here just to kind of tell where they are, because when she backs up, like I think we kind of need to see like that wall and the stairs behind her and stuff just to see like where she is, because yeah, when reading I was like, wait, where'd that pillar come from? Yeah, that's a little thing. Hum. What am I thinking here? What am I thinking? Oh, I think you're also doing, I remember in a previous, what would you call it? In a previous stream, we mentioned like, I remember the backgrounds were using like, you used really thick lines where you were using like thinner lines for characters in the foreground. I think you've done a really good job of integrating the characters into the background. I think that's improved a lot since previous submissions you've given. Yeah, I just love the way you have them interacting with the background in the scene. It's really good. I agree with Battlebox. Your lines are really smooth. The line work is looking real nice. It's very consistent throughout. It's very smooth and very consistent. Seeing everyone's cool comics makes me want to work on my own. Hell yes, do it, Reese. But yeah. You're doing good, Cole. It's the pillar that he was chasing her around. Just behind them now. Oh, okay. I think you just need to show yeah, because I know they're going towards the basket because you set it up in the previous panels that it's like up here at the top of the room. I think you just need some background to show that they've like spun around, if that makes sense. Just like even in one little panel, it doesn't have to be like all of them. Just one, I think would help. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's a really great action scene. I think you did a really good job. Did you have any questions, Cole? Like, was there anything that like you weren't sure about or like that you're struggling with that you want to ask about? I'm about to pinch a ton of your videos. Oh, well, thank you in advance. Good luck with your comic. The kittens are being adorable in the background. Like, look at that. Look at how cute they are. She running. running. There's Lear in the tube. Kim is having fun. So cute. Probably. She loves my shoes. Okay. Well, let me know if you have any questions, Cole. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going because we got so many. Got so many submissions. Okay, who wants to go next? Who's my next volunteer? There's Sean, Alice, V, Ink. You just wanted to send something in. Fair. It was really good. Akathos. Battlebox wants to go next? Okay, awesome. The animals are crazy. Beto's playing now. Very good.
We know it's wrong. He's sneezing.
Beto's just tap dancing in the background. Okay. Okay. So right, so this is your side characters for your comic. Oh right, for your manga artist comic. Okay, so there's Ari, who manages appointments and meetings and hires people. She's like a manager or secretary. Ethan does most of the background art. And Maya mostly puts dialogue in the program and draws up action words. Oh, okay, like sound effect stuff. Make sure they have snacks. Oh. Are you able to distinguish their personality traits based on how I drew them? How would you critique their designs? Okay. Wow. Okay, So yeah, personality-wise, if I'm guessing. So Ari seems very, like, laid back and, like, personable. I worried that I'm drawing that conclusion because she works as, like, a manager, but you'd hope she's personable if she's working as a manager. But yeah, she seems very friendly. She seems kind of, like, laid back. Very, like, girl next door type. Like, that kind of, like, friendly, approachable type of character. She can maybe be, like, a little bit sassy and jokey. But it seems more just, like, nice. Also, very organized. I simp for Maya, yes. Ethan looks like me. Incredibly shy. Yeah, Ethan looks very shy. Looks like maybe doesn't go outside very much. I think I'm getting that just from like the cozy like sweatshirt and like sweatpants look. Seems very nervous. And very shy is what I'm getting here.
Made her floppy.
Made her floppy. Oh,
Hello, my girl.
Got her yayas out.
good. No more yayas.
You can see her. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. This is very important.
Floppy time.
Yeah, you get it. With that microphone. No touch. You're so cute, Miku. Miku, Miku.
How is that cat so small? Well, she's a baby.
She's a baby. She's 9 weeks. She's a baby. I love her so much. I'm gonna cry. Okay, so for Ethan, he seems very shy. He seems like, the reason I get like, doesn't go outside much vibes is like, maybe not doesn't go outside, but doesn't care so much about like his appearance because he's got like long hair that he lets go in his face. Like maybe he's too shy to go get a haircut. Or he just likes it. And yeah, and just doesn't seem to care too much about clothes, more like comfort over style type look. Oh, good boy. Oh no. Oh, good boy. Please take me and snuggle her for me. Meow.
Don't want to be taken.
No take. And then for Maya, she like I expect her to be at the gym at like 5 a.m. every day, like on the treadmill, just going hard. That's where I will see her. And I love her outfit, 10 out of 10. But yeah, she looks very like sporty, very fashionable. She also seems like very down to earth to me. And she's super cute. she's a cutie, I gotta say. Yeah. I want to say she's the mom friend, but that's just because you mentioned that she brings them snacks and energy drinks and stuff. She's a bit of a meathead. I love it. Yes. Okay. As for their design stuff, I think you've done a good job with like portraying their personalities with like the way they express. Maya and the way, I mean, like, obviously you're gonna do more art of them, but in this drawing, Maya looks like a little bit shy just from her expression. But not sure if that's what you're going for. But yeah, overall in their designs, it's very easy to tell kind of like their personalities and what they're like and what they do. And yes, so looking at the art overall, like I won't go in on the line art and stuff because you said these were quick. But I think Ethan has very good contrast. You maybe could play up the contrast a bit more with like the sweater color because like he's got like really dark hair, light skin. I find like the sweater might be a bit too mid-tone, if that makes sense, and maybe going for something darker might work more with his kind of look, just to like match it to his hair. I think color choice works really well. Like the purple and gray and bluey kind of colors you got going on works really well with kind of the shy kind of look. But yeah, maybe like a little bit darker just to keep that contrast up. I think Maya's outfit has really great contrast just with like the dark like undershirt and leggings with like the shirt over top. I think with the green shirt over top you could even lighten it a little bit more to get a bit more contrast, maybe brighten it up. I picked the purple to match his eyes, but I might have him wear black often. I think you could do some cool stuff with like a really dark purple, like you can make it look black while using purple tones in it, if that makes sense. Because I think the purple works. Like I like that you're matching things that way. But yeah, Maya's outfit has really great contrast. I find there's some contrast issues like in her face. I might darken up her hair a little bit. Like you still want to keep that kind of like that nice rich brown. But yeah, but I might make it a little bit darker just because like especially with the shadows on her face, they kind of blend in with her hair a little bit. And just upping the contrast might help a little bit for readability. But overall, her colors work really well together. Like, I like the earthy tones throughout. And same with Ari. I like how she's like color coordinated with the orange and the red. That's cute, and I like how she has like the little green bracelet to match her eyes. I think that's a nice touch. Like, I think you've got a very good concept of like picking colors. I feel like Ari's contrast works because her hair is like nice and dark. It's bright, but red is like a very dark color overall, so it reads darker even when you have like a bright red. I might darken her pants just because they're getting a little bit mid-tone and they're very close in value to the shirt. So maybe darkening them up would help a lot, and bring a lot of attention to like her hair. I have an inspired character in mind when I drew them up. Even if the series doesn't have magic, I'm getting a fire, water, earth vibe. I can see it. But no, I like how distinct their coloring is as characters. I think that's a really great idea. I was thinking of changing Maya's name to Mari. It's up to you. I think they both work, personally. I think it's just Ari's haircut, but she reminds me of is it Misato from Evangelion? That lady. It's been a while since I've watched that show. But the lady who takes in Shinji. Okay. So yeah, I think overall very good distinct characters. I think contrast just needs to be messed around with. And obviously that can change depending on their outfit in your comic. So just something to keep in mind. Do you have any other questions, Battlebox? Happy to answer them. I'll drink my tea in the meantime. Man, I'm just identifying with Ethan. That's me. Thanks for the cheek. I'll have more next time. No more questions? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for submitting. Alright. So who would like to go next? Tell me. I mean, I saw V talking, but... And it is after 4 now. So I think we have Sean. I don't know if Sean's here. Oh, true. That is Mari and Ari. It might be confusing. Just having similar sounding names, but... I mean, it's different when it's written out, so... I don't know. Oh, Akathos might not be here, so maybe I'll leave that till the end. Oh. Bones is using Dropbox. That's what that sound was. Sean is me? Oh, okay, awesome. Ballpoint. Oh, that's what you meant. I was like, you drew these in ballpoint pen? Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, Sean. Let's do this. Okay. So the first one is Tribe Mother Enoch. Opinions on anatomy, lighting, personality, and the role she plays in the story. So I love the lighting and the atmosphere for this. It's really cool. Just through all the pieces that you showed me, you have a really great grasp on like atmosphere, and just like setting a tone with your colors. Like 10 out of 10, real good. So good. But yeah, I'm in love with this hearth in the background. I just want to live in this cozy little cabin wherever she is and live there and be happy. Like, it looks like, I know it's like very like red, which is like a very angry color, but it just looks cozy. And I just love the colors you've chosen. They're so good. And I like how the light reflecting off her has like this like really warm red hue to it. It just really places her in the environment really well. It's really cool. I agree, it totally looks like a stop frame from like an animation. Like looking at your art, it feels very like cinematic, I think is the word. You also use very like diverse shapes for your characters, which is great. That's what I was going for. It looks great. You did a really good job. But yeah, but I love just like the shapes of her. She's very like she's made of very like sturdy shapes. And she's very she's like a mix of like boxy and like rounded triangles kind of. Which really works. Like I like how she's got like the kind of fluffy fur lining to like her coat or dress. And like all of her shapes really kind of play off that, but they're not like super bubbly and round. Which I think is really nice. I love the hands too. Like something about these hands that's just so good. Like I love this thumb. 10 out of 10. You do a really good job of creating like depths to your shapes, like making them feel 3D with really simple lighting. Cause like you've got basically like a shadow, and then you have like a darker shadow, and then like a backlight, kind of rim light type thing, and like it feels like it's just so full of shape and volume. It's so good. I wanted her to feel very native. She feels very like reads very Inuit kind of style, like Arctic native style, I guess. If that makes sense. But yeah, really great. Just depth and shadow and stuff. One thing I'd be careful of, I use a lot of film grammar. One thing I'd be careful of is some contrast issues with, I noticed that the most with her staff, which blends in a lot with the background. I think you need to lighten it up so that it either needs to be silhouetted in black so you can see it, though like the background is very dark. But it needs some kind of like lighting on it, and some shadow and some more highlights on it just so you can see it. It really disappears like up here, contrast wise. Same with like her hair, because it's so dark against the background. I think you just need to like add a little bit more contrast on this like backlighting on her, just so that she stands out more. I think on her like skin and her coat it works because there's like pretty good contrast between it. But yeah, just be careful of like the dark spots, like her hair and the staff she's holding. Yeah, maybe a rim light, like just lightening that highlight up would really help. Hum. But yeah, really great job overall. So as for like I think you asked like what my opinions on her personality. So she seems like a mentor type character. She seems like either like the leader of like her group, or like the way I read it is like she's either like a leader type, or she's like a witch who like lives in a cottage type, like a maybe not a witch. That feels very like that feels like it has a bad connotation, but like a magic person. Or maybe both. Maybe she is magic and she's a leader. I don't know. Maybe it's just the cottage vibe that I'm getting. Also, I think there's a skull in the background. I think. So. But yeah. Very good. She seems, personality-wise, she seems like grumpy. Like that kind of gruff, like take no nonsense type person. She seems like she's like gruff grandma or gruff mom type. Both. Hell yes. I love it. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I love the lighting. Anatomy wise, I think it's great. I think you've done a great job with like her shapes. Nothing feels like off anatomy wise. Like it's very stylized obviously, but that totally works. Awesome. Do you have any other questions on this one, or can I move on to the next one? I mean, how about I move on to the next one so we keep going, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. So the next one is Thea Mother Io. So opinions on design, lighting, and overall concept. So I love the lighting. It's very cinematic, like I was saying before. When she shows up, our bad guys. Oh, like what? She's a bad guy? She's one of the villains? Anyways, so for this one, yeah, I love the lighting. It's very dramatic. Like you can tell she's like fighting. I like how you can see like the sword of the enemy raised up. Like that's really cool. It's really cool storytelling. With this still image. It's very oh, what's that term for like starting in the action? Bones isn't listening. He can't help me. Bad guys run. Oh, I see. But yeah, very this is I love the lighting in this. It's so cool. And again, like you've done very simple shadows, but they're very effective. And I think a big part is like the shape of the shadows, the contrast of the shadows. You're really good at showing the forms of everything by using shadow. In media res, that's it. Thank you, Nell. Yeah, this feels very in media res. But yeah, very expressive work you're doing here. I also like the little like fog effects and little blurred effects on it. They just add that little extra bit of depth to because like your style's very simple. Like it's a very simplified style. Like when I look at it, it feels like it should be flat, but you've done such a good job with like rendering the shadows, adding little details here and there, little effects that make it really like come alive. I also like the little shininess of the sword, as well as like I love the little details in the blade. That's awesome. Yeah, really great depth to things. With this one in particular, I was wondering, parts of it feel like a little like unfinished. like when I wasn't sure if the character has like a shaved head or if the hair is missing, and I think the reason it feels I'm unsure about it is because the top line here is missing if it's like a shaven head. Um uh where it just feels like there's a layer missing if you keep this unlined. And I think it's because where you'd place like something, where you'd like remove the line for something is usually where it's like blown out with like light to the point where like adding she's bald. Okay. Yeah, so unless you have like a highlight here that would like where a line on it would be like distracting, where you're trying to show like it's so lit up that there's no line on it, I'd recommend adding a line. It's shadow from the sword. Oh yeah, like I get the sword is like casting shadow here. It's just like there's line art missing right at the top of her head is all. But there's no like light hitting it. So it feels weird to me. And same with I was also looking at the oh, what do you call that? Not the hilt. The thing that stops your hands from slipping onto the blade. What's it called? Anyways, the crossbar piece of the sword here. I was doing a lost line. Oh, my battle box. But yeah, but the sword, like, because you've got, like, such nice detail on the blade and stuff, like, the, I get you. Okay. Yeah, it just feels like this is very plain compared to, like, the shininess of the sword, because if it's made of the same metal, it probably would have the same shininess. It's a guard. Oh my god. Yes, thank you. The guard on the sword. It just feels like it needs, like, a texture or something. Whether that maybe is, like, some more intricate line work like this, or some more shadow on it. It just feels like a little plain compared to the rest. Especially because it's like right in a focal point. It really draws your attention in. So I'd recommend, yeah, it just needs like a texture or something, or some shadows, just something, just needs like a little bit more to make it like blend in a little more with the rest of the piece. But yeah, love the expression, love the depth of the lighting and the shadow. Yeah. Very expressive characters and really great composition too. Yeah, do you have any other questions about it? Ooh. This makes me want to get like do more cool lighting with my stuff. It's just so good. You're good? Okay, awesome. Okay, for your last one, what did you say? What was the notes? A character design, her name is Joan. Okay. So for Joan here, again, I really love the way you work with shadow and lighting. It's really good. I like how you've used the black as these really like dark, defining shadows, like on the underside of her hair and like under her chin and like on her waist and stuff, and on like the back of the arm. Like, it's just really good. Really great at like defining shapes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a very dynamic pose and composition. yeah, I really like how you've composed it, with her like being the focal point. I like how the gun is framed by her hair. I think that's a really nice touch. I think what you could do is brighten up the gun a little bit. It gets a little bit lost in her hair, but maybe bringing in some more of like the pink from like the cloudiness behind her, or just like lightening it up a little bit so it contrasts more. Like you've got good contrast in like the revolving bit. I don't know gun stuff. But yeah, with the little gold here, just bringing like some more of that brightness into it would really help make it pop. But yeah, but I love the foreshortening on it, on the arm, like it looks great. And again, like you've done a lot with like very minimal like shadow and highlighting. And I love the little effect like on her hair of like the backlighting is really cool. And yeah, just great sense of movement with everything. She strikes me as like an outlaw type character. Like I'm picturing kind of like a cowboy kind of era, and she's like an outlaw on the run, or she's a detective. One or the other. Seems more outlaw just because like she's not like in a uniform, but depending on how far back you go, like detectives and stuff probably wouldn't have uniforms. So yeah, very, very cool character. And I love the contrasting colors, like the green of the dress versus the pink of the background. Like, mwah, chef kiss. So good. Yeah, I think the only thing I would change is just brightening up the gun. She is the law. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so not an outlaw. Having a showdown with an outlaw. But yeah, I'd brighten up her glove and the revolver just for that contrast, if I were you. But yeah, do you have any other questions? I'm just vibing. Okay. I'll stop vibing. Okay. So yeah, Sean, let me know if you have any other questions. You're giving me a lot to work with. Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. All right. So, let's see. Okay, who would like to go next? We have Alice. V. And Ink. Who would like to go next? If no one volunteers, I'll do V's. V wants to go. Awesome. Okay. So, looking through your comic pages. So yeah, I think you've done a really good job with setting up the... Sorry, so I'll do one at a time because they're from different scenes. So in the first one, you've done a really good job with like setting the environment, with showing like the hospital room. At least I think it's a hospital, and not like her room, but yeah, I think you've done a really good job with like setting the scene in the first panel, and then kind of diving in and showing the characters after that. going in more depth there. I do like the lighting choice of having like the sunset kind of like very red and orange lighting throughout it. It's very moody. It sets the tone very well. I like the work with the character expression as well. Like, I think you're doing a really good job with like expressing how they're all feeling. I remember before discussing like having trouble differentiating Darius and his brother, but it's a lot easier seeing them in color and differentiating them. Yes, I think one thing that needs a little work would be the contrast. Now, I think you have pretty good contrast between your characters and your background. So, like, if I just look at, like, an individual panel, like, I think you've got, like, pretty good contrast between, like, foreground elements and background elements. Like, I'm not confused about where things are and stuff. I think that just overall, the background is very mid-tone. Instead of having like instead of using like really light values and really dark values, it's all kind of like in the middle. And I think in some places you can have your colors be in the middle and be fine, but I think in some places here you need to add some more contrast, whether that's going like really light or really dark. It's totally up to you, whatever kind of vibe you're going for. So for example, this background behind the gutters, which I know is like blended into this top panel here, which I like. I really like how you've done that. It's hard because I'm not sure I can't remember how you're characterizing your like flashbacks, but I know like darkening the space behind the gutters can be like a way to show a flashback, and you might want to not do that, but I would recommend darkening, like doing a gradient to a darker color behind these panels just so that they pop more. They blend in a lot with this back part, especially like these three panels where the background color of them is like the exact same color as this, and it's just like it's a lot of the same orange. Wasn't sure what to do with the back of this one. Yeah, I definitely darken it, so you go from like this color and gradient it down to like either like a gray or like a darker orange, something like that. You could even do a contrast and use like maybe the green from like Darius's hair. Maybe like a bit darker and desaturated, but like you could totally play around with that. You could also fade to white if you want. I wanted to continue the bleed. I just didn't know if I should blend it in any way somehow. Yeah, I think it just needs to be like lighter or darker. Either way, I think you could do something really cool. But I like the decision, yeah, to like blend it with the top panel. It was a good decision. Give that a go. Awesome. But yeah, I think you've done a good job with like the blocking and the line art and the expressions. It's just the color feels very mid-tone. It's the only thing I'd say. I think for this scene in particular, you could also do some darker shadows, especially on this first panel. Because you have some like shadows going on. Like, I think if you darken them, you could add to that moodiness. You can maybe pull back on them and keep them like as they are in here. Because I think they work, but just for that first one to get like a really cool, stark like atmosphere, like darkening those shadows on them could really make it moody. If you want to. But yeah, just because you have such like a stark visual going on with the sunset, just having really dark, long shadows would be really cool. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. As for the other page, again, I really like the character expressions. I think you have more of a contrast issue with this one, with this particular red in the background. It's a super tense scene. Totally, yeah, I think heightening the contrast on that shadows will really help with the mood. But yeah, for this one, the colors of the characters are very similar in value to the background of this red. So I know it's like a bar, so you probably want to make it like a little dark. Like, I mean, it depends on the bar, but they usually have like the lights down low a little bit. So I understand wanting to use this dark red. I might push it. Honestly, I think you need to do some more kind of lighting with it if you want to make it very like kind of low light restaurant scene. Like adding in some shadows into the background would really help. Felt like it was too flat. Yeah, I think this page just needs some more shadows in the background, just to differentiate the characters from the color values. Will be the death of me. It's hard. It takes a lot to like get used to. You really have to like push it so that it's like super high contrast. It's like the problem that Clad was having with the logo design, where like she's gone really high contrast, which is great. Like we love high contrast, but then you have to like go really far and then pull it back. But yeah, but I think this page just needs more shadows in the background, and I think you could keep that particular value of red. Maybe some visible wall lights. Yeah, that would be great. It would be a great way to like add in some different values into the background and help make them stand out. The characters stand out, I mean. Definitely. It might also help, depending on like where they are, maybe putting like, you could put shelves on the wall covered like with bottles or something. I'm not sure if this wood piece in the background is the bar, or if it's like wood paneling on the wall. So adding some more details there might help with that. But as for like the characters and like the stuff they're like interacting with like the table and the chair and the glasses and stuff, like that all looks great. I think you've done a good job with like, you've got some nice little subtle highlights on it. You've got good shadows on it. I think the background just needs like a little more depth to it. It's wall siding? Oh, okay. I would definitely add in some details to it then. Like adding in this little highlight thing you have going on. So like adding shadows and highlights to make it look like paneling or something. Just a little bit like more small detail to make it look like the wall, if that makes sense. You guys are streaming on my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, honeysuckle. But yeah, I think the background just needs some more details, maybe some more contrasty shadows, and I think you can keep this red as long as it has like highlights and shadows on it. If you don't, I know you plan to add walls and stuff. But yeah, if you were gonna keep it like this, I'd recommend darkening the red, but since you're gonna add like shadows and wall lights and stuff, then you're good. You're good, my friend. Yeah, I think the wall lights will be especially good because you have this like nice highlight on the characters, this kind of yellowy highlight. So just adding in those lights that are casting the yellowy light will really help. Some pictures would help too. Yeah, just like putting stuff on the walls too. Just gives the environment more depth. Yeah. Oh, there's one other thing to be very mindful of in this page. You have a tangent going on. I'm not sure if it's a tangent or a major merger. I think it's a major merger in this case. Where Darius's shoulders, even though they're smaller, they're lined up like perfectly with his torso in the next panel. So it looks a little bit like they're connected. I'd recommend just moving one of them just slightly so they're not quite so lined up. Just because like it creates a weird little like visual illusion thing. Yeah, so that's always something to be mindful when you're laying out your panels. I have seen it, I weep. Oh no, I'm sorry, me. I'm so sorry. Yeah. You just gotta shuffle things around a little bit. I do that stuff too all the time. Sometimes you just miss it. You're just laying out your panels and you just totally miss it because you're seeing them as individual panels. Sometimes you just gotta like pull out and be like, is there anything that looks like it's connected weird here? But yeah, otherwise, I think you're doing a really great job. Your line work is like, mwah, impeccable. Awesome. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions, V. Oh wait, I should check that if you asked for any other stuff. Oh, you asked about like the simplicity of your shading. I think it works really well. I think you just gotta mess with the contrast, but the way you're doing shadows and highlights, like it's nice and subtle and nice. Looks good. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna keep going. Let me know if you have any other questions. Okay, so now we have Alice, Ink, and Akathos. Let's look at Alice's. Alice, I don't know if you're here. But let's see. Okay. I made some invitations for my parents' anniversary celebration. I wanted to get it critiqued. Lorem ipsum the address. I had a moment when I saw this and I saw an address. I was like, no, don't dox yourself. But yeah, it's just lorem ipsum. Just filler text, so that's good. Okay, so for invite and RSVP cards, I'd like a general critique of the layout, text, and how they look as a pair. So as a pair, they work really well together. I can definitely tell they're for like the same event. I like how you've just rearranged like the elements, and they work really well together. One thing I will say is that visually, okay, for one, I love these carnations. I think they're carnations that you have in the front in the yellow. Like, I really love how they like overlap everything. They're very like stark. It's really pretty. It's a really cool effect and I really like it. Keep it. Please keep it. It looks so good. It's very bold. I think the colors all work really well together. Like I like this like very dusty pink with the yellow. The one thing I will say is that the background behind the like white where all the text is very visually busy to the point that it distracts from the information on the invitations. So I would recommend you can either put like a color on top and kind of lower the opacity so that there's less contrast in all like the shapes and stuff going on, or you can like lower the opacity on the image, just something to like bring down that visual noise and kind of reduce the contrast within that background picture, just so that the text and the lovely carnations have like are the attention grabbers instead of this very busy background. Like I kind of want you to keep like the petal flower stuff in the background. It just needs to be toned down. Like I don't think you need to change it for like a gradient or like just a solid block of color. Like I like how the carnations work with the petals in the background. They just need to be toned down. As for the text, I think you need just like a little bit more padding between the edge of this white rectangle and where your text starts, which I know is hard because you want to have your text to be legible. You might have to cut some of the... Oh, it's hard. It's very minimal writing on it. But you may have to like condense some of the writing and make it smaller, but you just need like a little bit more space around it so that it doesn't feel so crammed into the space. Same with on the RSVP card, it just needs more room out here. You might even want to fill the white right up to like this first border that you have, just so that there's like some lovely fresh breathing room for your text to sit in. I'd also recommend darkening possibly your pink text, maybe to like one of the darker colors like in here, just so that like it has a little bit more contrast. It's like almost there, it just needs to be a little bit darker, and I think you can still keep it as this like dusty pink, just darker. And I find with the gold and yellow text for the names and for the please respond title here, the yellow needs more contrast versus the white, so I'd recommend either using like honestly here I'd just put a drop shadow if I were you, just like a nice shadow. It can be a subtle shadow, but it has to be like dark enough to add that contrast, or a dark outline, like probably a thicker outline too. Like you've got a little bit of an outline here, but maybe adding like a second outline and making it darker would help. And whether you use like a dark orange or a brown or even that red might work, if you don't want to go like totally like a black shadow or black outline. Totally mess around with colors, but it just needs to be darker so that you can read it against the white. But yeah, I like how you've used like limited fonts. Like I like how you have this very scripty font for like the names and titles, and then this like serif font for all the body text. You could also play around with like sizing for different parts. So like for the important information, like the address and the names and the date, you could keep it big, but then for like this other information, like please bring a covered dish or snack, you can make it a little bit smaller. So just play around with sizing, like so that the information that they need to know is like bigger, and then the kind of extra information is like a little bit smaller. So play around with that as well too. Because you can get you can get some cool looking design stuff by messing around with sizing and playing around with the hierarchy that way. Bigger things having a big, like a, being higher in the hierarchy visually than smaller things. Yeah, otherwise looks really great. Very bold, colorful, very pretty. Just little tweaks that are needed. And for the next part, so you said this was made for a class. The assignment was to take a word like slice and combine it with a relevant image. I think this is really cute. I really like the colors. They're super cute. I think you get the concept across really well with like slicing a watermelon. Totally get it. I like how you've got like the juice and the seed coming out. Like, that's great. That's so cute. I saw this and I was like, this looks like it could be a logo for something, for like a juice or something, like watermelon juice. But yeah, super, super cute. The only thing I'd critique, one is when presenting something like this, it might just be the way you like grab the image. I definitely add more padding around the edge of the image so that, again, it has more room to breathe and it's not just like tucked up against the corners. So just when you're presenting something, just giving it a little bit extra breathing room around can really help. Let the design shine. Looking at the only other thing I'd really say, because you've done a really good job with the colors. I love the drop shadow. Like, it's just really, it's a great piece. I find the only place I really notice it is the S. Is like right here where the slice begins. Feels a little like busy. Because I like how you've got, it's very geometric within the L and the I and the E. Like, and even in the C, like the curves and stuff, like the texture on the watermelon skin part. It's very simple, but it feels very busy here with the S. So I might like remove some of the detailing, like this little center bit here, like maybe combining it with this bit that like curves over the top of the S. Just bringing down some of the visual noise because it gets a little kind of cluttered right in here, if anything. I'd also recommend adding a drop shadow to, well, I'm not sure, maybe like a really subtle blurry drop shadow to like the little flourish parts. Just so that they feel a little less tacked on top. You know? But yeah, otherwise these are really great. Guys, give me more graphic design stuff to go on because I really like it. It's really fun to talk about. But yeah, other than that, really great work, Alice. I'm not sure if you're here, but if you're watching this afterward, please reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer. Okay, so let's move on to ink. I don't know if you're here. Inkadora on Discord. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Need more tea. Okay. Oh, you're here? Yay! Hey! Awesome, okay. So some recent works of mine. The first is a fan art of the Flash. The second is an original Gajinka based off of pardon me, of Palumo from Monster Hunter World. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Feedback on the fundamentals like color, anatomy, composition would be helpful. For the second one, general feedback on the design as well would be helpful. I'm looking to do some comic character designs in the near future, but I'm trying to strengthen the fundamentals first. Awesome. Okay. Is this the end of the stream? Not quite. We've still got some time to go. It's a bat monster? Okay, cool. I was like, oh no, I won't be able to compare it to the creature. Okay, so let's start with your flash picture. Okay. So I think looking at
God,
there's so many. We got so many submissions. We're definitely gonna have to break it up into 2 streams in the future if we keep getting this many submissions. But thank you guys for supporting us and submitting things. That's amazing. Okay, so I think looking at this piece individually, I'm thinking anatomy here. So individually, I think you've got a good handle on what things look like. So like his torso looks good. His like each segment of the legs looks good. His face looks good, etc., etc. All the different pieces look good. I find they're just connecting a little weird. Like I feel like the perspective is off on his arm, for example. Where I think possibly if you're studying fundamental stuff, I'd look into foreshortening. Because like for one, I'm like you're doing really good work with doing like a really dynamic pose for him, for one. I just think like some of it looks a little bit off because it needs some of that like structure and depth underneath it, because right now it looks kind of flat, which is making like the fact that his leg is coming forward, it makes his hips look a little bit off. Same with like the arm coming forward, it makes his arm look really skinny in comparison to like the rest of him. I find with the arm and leg going back, they feel better, and I think it's just because you've the perspective on them feels like a little bit better. So yeah, so I'd recommend looking into like doing really structured like foreshortening, so that's when something is like coming towards the camera and making it look very 3D. And yeah, and I think just like composing the different parts of anatomy, especially in a dynamic pose, just needs like a little bit more, just a little more steadier work on it. Hum hum hum. I like the shading you've done on it. Like it really helps with like creating depth, because like I was saying, like some of the shapes feel very flat, but I think you've done a good job with the adding shadow on top to add some more depth into it. So great work there. And again, the pose is really dynamic, like keep that up. That is like 10 out of 10, really good. And I really like the colors you've chosen. Like I like he really pops against the background, with like the red, and especially the yellow and stuff on this like purpley violet background. Like I like how the purple is like shifted towards like the red side of purple, so that it doesn't like clash with the red of his suit. So very good work with color choices. You got good contrast too. Like there's a couple places where like his hand here gets a little bit lost because of the shadow. But for the most part, you've got good contrast throughout. I also like the texture in the background of like the spacey texture going on. And I find I don't know the Flash character very well, so I don't know what to call it, but like the lightningy, motiony effects going on him. I think they need a bit more structure to them. Because I like what you're doing. Like, I like how they, like, frame his body and, like, you can see them coming off him and it gets more, like, erratic as it goes back to show, like, the motion, which is really good. I think they just need, like... I feel like they need to be, like, thicker at the front and then get smaller as they go back just to show some more of that depth. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Speed Force? Okay. I'll take your word for it. Hold on, I need a light on in here. It's getting dark. Ooh. Okay. So. I also like how you've got these, like, little, like, it looks like spots where he's, like, run on this, like, asteroidy thing in the background. Like, I really like how you've got these, like, visual cues showing, like, the motion and stuff. I would recommend for this background asteroid thing darkening the shadows in it just so that it, like, blends into the background a bit more, but overall, I think you did a really good job. Sorry, just double checking what your questions were. I think the composition's really good. I might add some more space, like, on either side. Like, at first I was like, maybe you need more, like, more space at the top. I think if you did change the size of the canvas, maybe, like, making it a little bit wider so that he has, like, a bit more room to breathe in. But I think you've done a good job of, like, placing him on, like, a focal point and, like, there's so much motion through it because it's so dynamic. Like, I think the composition's great. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions on that. Good expression, too. Okay. So moving on. Okay. So I really like the color palette. That had all the points I had. Okay, awesome. I love the colors. There's something about it that feels very clean, and I think it's the way you've put down the shadows on this, where I really like how you've got this kind of two-tone going on, where you've got these, like, kind of your big patches of shadow. I'm mostly looking at the legs for reference here, but I like how you've got these, like, big patches of shadow to, like, show kind of, like, the big forms, but then you have these, like, tighter shadows that are darker to show kind of where elements are, like, touching and overlapping. It's, like, really good. It's really good at showing depth and getting those forms to read really well. I actually really love how you did, like, the lighting on this foot here. Like, I like how you've got, like, a little bit of, like, a saturated blur going on where it really looks like natural sunlight, like, hitting the character. Like, that's really good. I'm like, dang, I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna use that. But yeah, it just adds this, like, depth to it. It's really nice. And yeah, the colors are great. You've got really great contrast between the different elements within the character's design. So, like, different pieces of clothing. Sorry, I should be more specific with that. Different elements of the costume have good contrast. So, like, white pants and then, like, a pink sweater and then, like, a white collar and stuff. like all the different elements have good contrast between them, which is great. The color palette, I love it. Listen, I'm just living for anything pink and purple and cute. But yeah, really great choice with the color. It's very yummy looking. Some colors are just like, some color palettes are just yummy looking. And this is one of them. But yeah, I think you've done a really good job with like differentiating the character from the background. I love the color palette. I love the blues in the background versus like the pinks and stuff in the front. I love your use of shadow. For the overall design, I think the body of the character needs like some shape pushed, like pardon me, like I'd recommend looking into kind of shape language to really push pushing your characters to have very like distinct shapes, because that can be like a really helpful part of like designing characters, because you mentioned you were putting up comic characters soon. Is just like differentiating your characters based on like body types and really like pushing shapes, and I think that really helps with like creating these like gajinkas of like creatures and stuff, is really pushing that shape as well onto the you know, humanoid version, the shapes that are kind of in that creature. So yeah, so I'd recommend just like working on that a little bit, just to give the bodies like distinct shapes. I love the fluffy shoes and the fluffy pants. They're just good. Yeah, exactly. You can add more flair and stuff. Oh, goodbye, Farwin. Thanks for coming. I think as well, I would recommend there's something about the background that feels a little off, and I think it's like, I really like what you've done with the shadow beneath the character. That's like a really great way to like ground the character in the background, but I find that like the shapes underneath them, they're like, they don't follow like a grid or perspective, so it looks very like lumpy and floaty, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'd recommend like putting down a grid just so you can like attach your character to the floor a bit more, because like right now they feel a little floaty. But I love what you've done with the shadows. Like, keep up your work with the shadows and the lighting and stuff, because you're really great with that. But yeah, I also like your work with the texture. Like, you can tell like this is like fur. Then you've got like, it looks like scales almost, like on the sweater and the tail. And then I like the little line work in the wings and stuff. Yeah, and I'd say, and I think for the anatomy wise, I think I have the same comment as like the last one, where like individual pieces like are really well formed, but I think just like kind of like fitting things together needs like a little bit more, like a little bit of work. Like it needs a little bit of tweaks here and there. But I think you've got a really great foundation to start on. Like proportioning wise, this one feels better, and I think it's because like the pose isn't as like pushed by perspective. Things feel like more proportional. But yeah, but there's some places where like I feel like the hair should be like tucked in front of the ear, because considering like her face is like turned. So yeah, so the hair should like overlap in front of the ear and stuff. But overall, it looks really great. I love the colors. So yeah, just I can't speak. Do you have any other questions about it or anything I didn't address?
Oh well.
Hit all the points? Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. All right, our final piece of the night. Let's see. Yeah, we're on the last one. Okay. So this is a major antagonist for my in development comic. Keeping it short, her name is Briar, and she's an unhinged / brash recluse who makes a hobby out of hunting down eldritch monsters. Same. She poses a great threat to the protagonist, while at the same time being campy and enjoyable to encounter. I love it. A fun villain. Okay. Previously established antagonists in the story are also designed to be similarly enjoyable, but are unchallenging in comparison to her. I'd be interested in first impressions. Does the description seem fitting with her design? I was also hoping to get feedback on how, if the blending, posing, and anatomy can be improved on. Otherwise, I'd be interested in hearing any advice. Okay. Awesome. So I am in love with this character design. Like, she definitely looks unhinged, and like she hunts down eldritch monsters. Like damn, spot on. I love the hair. I'm in love. I want hair like that. It looks like she's just like come running through the woods, just like cutting down anything in her way. Like, I love how there's little twigs going out of her hair. There's like, I'm not sure if it's shinies or like leaves, but it's fantastic. I also adore the like shiny texture on like the blade and the metal bits and the hair. Like, it looks very glossy, and it's a really interesting texture too. I think it adds a lot. Color-wise, everything fits really well together. She's got a very autumny like color palette. She feels like she'd be at home in like an autumn forest type setting. Does she have like a robotic arm or like a prosthetic arm? It looks like it. I wasn't sure if it was wood or metal. I feel like it's wood, but I don't know. I think if it is metal, I'd add some more of that glossy shininess, but if it's wood, then disregard me, please. I love the expression. She really just looks unhinged. I'd recommend, contrast-wise, kind of upping the contrast on these scars that she has, like on her face and like on her hand and stuff. Just because like they blend in quite a bit to her skin. I think like they either need to be like lightened up. I'm maybe even like making them a little bit more orange. I'm not sure, because I know I feel like you're trying to match the red in these like leafy sparkle bits. But I think the contrast needs to be upped on these scars in particular. Just because like they add a lot of flavor, but you don't see them unless you're like up really close. So I recommend, yeah, working on the contrast on that. It's also a little hard to tell. Just because of the pose, it's hard to see like the rest of the armor and stuff. But from what I can see, I really like it. I think I really like how you've got this like kind of curvy, pointy leaf kind of shape going on through a lot of like the hair and the face and like the breastplate and the shoulder plate. I'd love to see more of that kind of curve, like the curve you got in the hair and the shoulder plate in particular, through the rest of the armor on her. So like on her shins, like it's very jagged and straight shape. Same with like her arm guard. And I'd love to see you bring more of that curve in, because I think that would really help keep the shape stuff consistent. And yeah. Because I feel like the legs feel like a little I feel like this happens a lot in designs, what I'm noticing between lots of people, myself included, honestly. Where the legs don't quite feel as designed out as like the top half of her. So I'd recommend like adding some more detail to her boots or something. It's hard to tell because I can't see like the middle here. You're covering like part of her legs and like her waist area. But adding like maybe some more bits of like red or gold just to make her like the top of her design match the bottom of her design, and bring in more of those kind of rounded shapes into it, because I like how she's like pointy. She's pointy, but there's little round bits on it. It just needs to like keep that shape going throughout the whole thing. But man, I love her so much. I love the expression. So cool. I love the shadow around like her eye and stuff. Very intimidating. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. She seems like a cool villain. I love the idea of her. 10 out of 10. Would smooch. Okay. So yeah, I don't think you are here. Like how swoopy the line art is. I do too. It looks so good. I like how like thick the line art is too, and then it gets like thinner for little details. And I love the little like darkened shadows, not shadows, like silhouette of like the rest of her hair in the background. Like 10 out of 10. So good. Love the line work. Yeah, awesome work. If you are watching this, my friend, Akathos, please let me know if you have any questions about this. Otherwise, great work. And that brings us to the end of this stream. Man, yeah, like we were saying, next time we will definitely be cutting it up into 2 streams, so one Thursday and one Saturday next month, if we get this many submissions again. If you would like your stuff critiqued, please join our Patreon, where you will get access to the Discord, where you can submit for next month when we do our next critique. You can submit like comic scripts, thumbnails, comic pages, illustration, graphic design, prose, like a section of a novel or a short story or something. Check it out. Let us know. Alrighty, and thank you so much to everyone who submitted. You're all very brave, and hopefully this was helpful. And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.